Hi, my name is Dr. Maeva Clark, and I support parents and caregivers of neurodivergent children by providing emotional support and practical tools without burnout as they guide their children to meaningful friendships where they are celebrated and not just tolerated. I am so happy to be with you today because it's been a couple weeks since I've shared and connected with you. Well, I'm just going to let you in on what's been going on. Well, I was able to go on a trip to Greece, Italy, and Spain with my family, and it was amazing. What I've learned is um, you can't just work, 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 and not make time for family, friends, and connection. It just won't work. You'll wind up burning out. You'll just start being snippy and snappy with people and everything. So you must take time for yourself. This is a form of self-care. I say over and over and over that self-care is necessary. It's not selfish. It's essential to being the best version of yourself. And a part of self care is taking breaks, and not just breaks for yourself, but breaks with your family and connections with those you love. And as it stands, my husband and I were planning to do this trip without our children, but my children were blessed at the last minute to be able to go on this trip. And I must say that although I was looking forward to spending time alone with Chris, having my children, Chris and Kyra, with us, it actually enhanced everything because this was their first time out of the country and we got to experience some things together. Now, I have been to Greece before. I went to Athens and Santorini in 2019 for my cousin Tanya's wedding. Had an amazing time. But when I went with my cousin Sid and my friend Mila um, to see to go to the wedding, and we had a fantastic girls trip. But I talked about it so much that my children and my husband wanted to experience some of the things that I experienced, and we were able to this time. We not only were able to go to Athens and Santorini, but we were able to go to Mykonos, Greece as well. And then we went to Palermo, Italy, and Barcelona, Spain. Not only was my family of four able to attend, but my mother and my cousin Sid, my cousin Stephanie, and her significant other James went with us. And when I tell you, this was probably one of the first times in a very long time that I was able to go on vacation and completely decompress. I was able to really do what I wanted to do. There were times when I did meet with the family and we all did, but I was able to relax and I needed it. I really enjoyed that time. I enjoyed the space with my husband. I enjoyed the time I spent with my children, my mother, and so on. We traveled with Tiffany Jackson of We Be Traveling. Tiffany is a friend of ours from Millersville, so we've known each other for over 30 years. And when I tell you she is a first class travel agent, she is a first class travel agent. Tiffany was on this trip with us. This is our first time actually going on a trip with Tiffany. Usually she helps us by booking our trips and doing all the legwork and everything for us. But this time we actually went on one of her trips. And I will travel with her again because she not only did she do the investigation for everything. She met with her group maybe 4 or 5 times over the course of the planning to Zoom meet with us to keep us abreast of what was going on, to tell us about the different excursions. And we did some things together as a group. And one of the things we did as a group that was second to none is we went on a catamaran. Now, Royal Caribbean Brilliance of the Seas had that as an excursion, but what made this different was Tiffany had about 67 people in her group, and the people, half of us wanted to go on a catamaran. So we all pitched in and had a private catamaran as opposed to going with Royal. And it was amazing. I highly recommend it. I would definitely be open to doing that again. Another thing that Tiffany did was she set up Dinner in the Sky in Athens. It sounds scary. It sounds like something that the average person wouldn't want to do or whatever. And people that knew me were kind of surprised that I wanted to do it because I don't like roller coasters. Let me tell you, because I'm not afraid of heights, so it didn't matter. I don't like roller coasters, so I guess it's the speed and the height combined that I don't like. But this was such a phenomenal experience. Before I did it, I said, well, I only need to do it once, and then I probably wouldn't do it again because you can't chase that high, like the first time. Now, I have to admit, I would definitely be open to doing Dinner in the Sky again. I would love to do it in another country, where I could taste their food and experience their view, their panoramic view of the city from on high. When I tell you this was phenomenal, I mean, it was phenomenal. The food was delicious. I really enjoyed it. There were some people that didn't care for the food as much as I did. Um, so it's a personal preference, it's your palate, but I was very open I love Greek food. I was very open. This was my first time trying caviar. They had caviar on there, and I just experienced it, and I just really, really enjoyed it. And I plan on doing more things like this because I want to experience new things in life. I want to experience new places. This is just the beginning for me, and I am so open to seeing God's beauty, God's nature. I'm just excited about it, and I will share with you as I do these experiences and experience different culture and everything. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I connected with someone named Tarina. um, Here it is. Tarina and I have several mutual connections. I think we have like 23 mutual connections on Facebook, and these are like dear friends of both of ours. So she sought me out. She wanted to look me up because she said she's always seeing me on somebody's timeline. Well, I thank God for Tarina because she opened up and came to me, and we instantly hit it off. I look forward to further connecting with her. She seems like a really lovely person. And let me tell you what happened. So when we were coming home from Barcelona, we actually we started our trip in Athens, Greece, and we ended in Barcelona, Spain. So in Barcelona, I have a childhood friend that I grew up with next door. Her name is Jill Curry, and you may or may not have heard of her. She's a famous singer. She has lived in Spain for over 30 years. Her name, her stage name is her real name, her first name, which is Violetta Curry Fitzgerald. Anyway, we spent that time, our last day with her, and it was phenomenal. But when we left Barcelona, we went to the airport, and there were some hiccups. There were some snags with this day. I praise God for a praying mother. I praise God because before our trip, my mother asked everyone to fast and pray for our trip on the Saturday, or maybe it was the Friday before we left, whatever, one day before we left. She asked us to pray, and we did. We fasted and we prayed for this trip. Well, the the day that we were leaving, the Saturday we were leaving Barcelona, we had some snacks, and it went from the taxis getting us from the hotel to the airport. There were some glitches, and then when we got to the airport, there were more glitches. We wound up being in a pre-check line. There was only one person working. We got to the airport 3.5 hours before time, and they encourage you to be there 3 hours before time for an international flight. Well, we were there 3.5 hours early, and guess what? It was so slow, and we wound up being the last ones checked in. We almost missed our flight. My mother and my cousin were in scooters, and they usually get assistance from the check-in to the plane. There was no one available to assist them, and it was a mess. They almost lost the flight. They went ahead, the lady told them to go ahead of us. They got lost. They had to come back through the check-in. We were at the gate, they weren't there, and we had to make a decision. The supervisor was like, are you getting on or not? And by this time, my mom and my cousin had wound up connecting with an agent who was navigating them through. So the bottom line is, because they were able to get someone, they were able to make connection with the flight, and they were able to actually get on the flight. And we were so grateful and so blessed, because that was the only direct flight out of Spain to Philadelphia for that day, and they would have to stay over. All I can say is that is an example of God may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. When I tell you that they got in the nick of time, they did, and I'm grateful. So obedience is better than sacrifice. I'm glad that we all fasted and prayed for our trip. Now I'm going back to Tarina. I had to give you that backdrop. So for my mom's scooter, there's a battery, and she had one her scooter, and she had an extra one in her bag. Well, they took her battery out of her bag, and they took the one off her scooter, and they said that it could not go underneath. It needed to be boarded on the plane. So my mother couldn't carry the battery. I'm already on the plane. I told her to just leave the battery. We could always buy another battery. At this point, just get on the plane. Fortunately, someone from the staff was able to carry it on the plane and everything. So where Tarina comes in, um, she saw I was a little frazzled because my children had already gotten off the plane. My husband had already gotten off the plane. I stayed on the plane to assist my mother, and I had extra bags because my son forgot to take the bag off with him, and I didn't see him actually get off. So it was just like, when I tell you it was a mess, it was a mess. Anyway, now I have these 3 bags and two 20-pound batteries that I need to carry. And Tyrena was getting off. She saw that I was a little disturbed, and she asked me how could she help. She was able to take the batteries for me. That helped me immensely. But not only did she take it and stand at the runway where so my mother could get off, um, but she waited. When I tell you, this sister waited, and just that support of her waiting to see that I was okay as my son came back to meet so he could grab a bag and everything. That was priceless for me because we need community, we need connection, and sometimes we don't understand how important connections are. And we blow it over, but even something that small to her was significant to me because in that moment I needed the support. And that leads me to saying why I started my support group, MOAC, Mothers of Exceptional Kids. Now, it's called Mothers of Exceptional Kids, but it's not just for mothers, it's for parents and caregivers of neurodivergent children because as we all need support, I personally think that community needs even greater support because not everybody can relate and identify with being a parent or a caregiver of a child who is exceptional. And I just think that because I know what it feels like to be in that space, I want to be there to support other people. And I know what it feels like to be on the verge of burnout, mental, physical, and emotional burnout, because you give up yourself. You're constantly giving away yourself to other people that you tend to forget to take care of yourself and to take time out for yourself. And so I created this group to support people so they could feel like they don't have to do life alone and they don't have to be lonely on this journey because we can be there to be together, be there to support one another. So again, I just thank her for that, and I just want to continue to connect with parents and caregivers alike in this space. So on that note, tomorrow, I have a master class from meltdowns to meetups. And this is teaching strategies and tools on how to empower yourself as a parent and how to cultivate and have some strategies to pour into your children so that they're not just being tolerated by their peers, but they're being celebrated for being who they are in spite of their differences. Because we're all different, truth be told. But a lot of times when people are neurodivergent, they focus on what they don't have or based on someone else as opposed to embracing what they do have. And in this space, I want us to look at the positives, look at the small wins, look at the victories, and embrace what it is that we do have and not focus on what we don't have because what you focus on grows. And if you focus on what you don't have, that's going to grow and be bigger in your life. If you focus on what you do have, that's going to grow and be bigger in your life. So come and join me. Learn some strategies and tips. Learn about my 4S method. I call it SAFE, which stands for the S is for support, the A is for action, the F is for fortitude, and the E is for empathy. And with Safe Parenting Method, you will learn my 4S strategy to become an empowered parent. So I hope that you can join me tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but you must register. You can find the link in the chat to register for this masterclass. It is absolutely free, and I am providing tools and resources for you to become an empowered parent. As we talk, I want to remind you of my book, The Parent and Caregiver's Guide: Overcoming the Odds of Disabilities, Medical Challenges, Mental Health Disorders, and Trauma. And this book is a collaboration book with 12 other co authors. We all came together telling our stories. Um, Six of them are parents telling their story with their journey with their neurodivergent child. And six of the co authors are professionals answering the same questions that the parents answered, offering resources and tools to support you as a parent or caregiver on this journey. The book is filled with resources, and it is just a wonderful book. And in this book, we do have a clinical psychologist, Dr. Shanda Corbett, and I am going to read a section from her. And it, the question is, what can you offer to encourage parents and caregivers to hold on, keep standing, or fight? And Dr. Corbett says, parents and caregivers are undeniably resilient individuals. They stand strong in their roles, nurturing and supporting the lives entrusted to them by God and are endeavoring to cope with their lives after loss. Through grief can pain can though grief can be painful, I endeavor to inspire you with hope that you can cope and heal. I offer words of encouragement drawn from scriptures that have personally uplifted me, which can reflect upon which you can reflect upon to encourage them to hold on and keep standing. Jeremiah 29:11 also reminds us that God has good plans and purposes for each of us, even during challenging seasons. We are experiencing challenging seasons when we are grieving, and we can make it. Though the road may be fraught with difficulties, Philippians 4:13 reassures us that we can also draw strength from Christ to overcome any obstacle that comes our way. We truly can cope and heal from our grief with God's strength. It is key for parents and caregivers to remember that they are not alone in their struggles. Galatians 6:2 encourages us to carry each other's burdens, emphasizing the importance of seeking support from others, whether support is sought from family, friends, clergy, therapists, support groups, or self help resources like the Parents and Caregivers Guide. I encourage all needing grief, support, or other help to please seek help from any or all of the resources mentioned or others that resonate with them. It is my hope and prayer that these verses and resources discussed can serve to provide hope to parents and caregivers through the challenging seasons of grief, to be strengthened, to persevere, stand firm, and fight on. Specific resources can be found at restoredtoempower.com. And that was Dr. Shanda's answer to that. And then I'm going to read the same thing from Miss Sonia Harrell. The question again is, what can you offer to encourage parents and caregivers to hold on, keep standing, or fight? And she says, to all the parents and caregivers out there facing challenges, I want to offer some words of encouragement and support. Firstly, it's essential to recognize that the difficulties you're currently facing are just temporary hurdles in the grand scheme of life. While it may seem overwhelming now, remember that you've overcome challenges before and you possess the strength and resilience to overcome this one too. As a believer in God, I firmly believe that He has a plan for each of us and He will guide us through even the toughest of times. Despite the exhaustion and weariness that may set in, it's crucial to to keep pressing forward, to keep fighting for what you believe in. Each day, presents an opportunity to stand strong in the face of adversity and to demonstrate unshakable resilience. At the end of the day, it's about being able to look at yourself in the mirror and know that you've given it your all and that you've stood up for what matters most to you. I've found that maintaining integrity and a sense of purpose guides my actions and decisions. If there's something I can do or say to help someone else in need, I want to do it without hesitation. Sharing resources, offering a listening ear, or providing words of encouragement can make a significant difference in someone else's life. By extending a helping hand, not only do we uplift others, but we also find fulfillment in the purpose in our own journey. Moreover, surrounding yourself with a supportive community is invaluable. When you when you're feeling drained or overwhelmed, having uplifting individuals by your side can provide the strength and encouragement needed to persevere. Lean on your support system, whether it's family, friends, or fellow caregivers, to navigate through challenging times together. Together, you can lift each other up, offer guidance, and provide much needed encouragement. As you can see, I'm not the only one that thinks that finding a supportive community is essential in this journey of life, especially when you're navigating neurodivergent children, because it can be a very lonely, frightening, and overwhelming experience, which can lead to burnout without the right support. So I am here for you. I have again, MOEC, Mothers of Exceptional Kids, which is for parents and caregivers. And if you want more, please tune in tomorrow, Thursday, August 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my masterclass from meltdowns to meetups. Again, my name is Dr. Maeva Clark, and I support parents and caregivers of neurodivergent children by providing emotional support with practical tools as, without burnout as they help their children by guiding them towards meaningful relationships where they are celebrated and not just tolerated. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. The link is in the comments. Please, 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 please register, and I'll see you on Zoom. Take care and enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.